we about to take off. Yeah, you know what? We about to, we about to take off.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Before We Take Off. As always, I am your host, Mufaro, and today's guest is someone whose story doesn't fit neatly into one box, and that's exactly what's going to make this episode and this conversation very, very special. Pascal Dieujuste has lived a life shaped by moments, movement, discipline, and perspective. From serving in the U.S. Air Force to living in South Korea, Australia, and now Japan, his journey has given him a unique view of freedom, identity, money, and purpose. Pascal, Juice, welcome to the show and welcome to the Launchpad, my brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. That's a great introduction. Thank you for having me. That was great. No one has introduced me like that before.
I appreciate that, man. It's been so fun kind of writing these intros for every guest. So, and yeah, it's a hell of a thing to be able to introduce someone nicely. So I appreciate that you appreciate it.
You're a king, man. Yeah, I let the record show that you are great at what you do, and you do a lot of things. So that means that you're great at a lot of things.
I really do be doing the most, man. But I appreciate that. But hey, like I said, this episode's a little bit special because, like, as people know, Before We Take Off has been, at least the guests of Before We Take Off have been geared towards entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, creatives. But I definitely wanted to have you on the show for a very, I guess, special episode because while you may not fit into one of those categories clearly or cleanly, I should say, one of the things that I admire about you is your mindset. And you definitely share the kind of mindset that entrepreneurs, that athletes, that creatives have, in the sense that you are someone who is very driven and you have a lot of goals that you are determined to chase and complete. So I think it's valuable to hear your perspective, to hear your story just as much as our typical guests, I should say. So without further ado, brother, tell us your story. Who is Pascal?
Get into it. How should I say this? I was born August 30th, 1993 to one Marie Chantal Dieujuste, bless her soul. I moved around a lot. My first memories, I think from like 0 to 5, I lived in East Orange, New Jersey. My early memories, like my very first memory, I was walking into my aunt's house in Jackson, New Jersey. So this was probably like 4 or 5 years old. And I remember being there for a couple of years. I think I left when I was 9. From 9 to about 15, I lived in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Nothing like East Orange was pretty nice, but I don't remember it. Jackson was urban suburbia or more like the suburbs. Elizabeth, New Jersey was pretty rough. Not the roughest of neighborhoods, but pretty rough. So that's 9 to 15. And then I moved from Elizabeth, New Jersey to a very small town called New Egypt, New Jersey, which those 3 years are actually very important. So my time in Elizabeth, extremely important. My time in New Egypt, New Jersey, extremely important because I went from one environment to another environment. These environments were very different from one another. I graduated high school at 17 years old. So this is like 2010. And then I ended up joining the Air Force at 19. So I got to basic the 7th of April, 2013. I'm a very old man. And then pretty much from that point forward, it was so I was in basic, I did tech school. So that was like 4.5 months. And then I got to South Korea in like October of 2013. So pretty much it's October of 2013 until today. So we're in June of 2026. I have been overseas for 13 years.
Damn.
That's and I'm 32 years old, right? Like I'm old, man. 32 years old. So like my entire adult life, minus like 18 to 19 years old, bit of a write-off, but like 13 years of my whole adult life, I've developed, made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot, started my walk with Christ during this period of time, met my wife. There's a lot of relationships, breakups, met my wife. A lot of things happened during this 13-year period, but I am a man of faith. I am a man who loves his wife. I'm a man who loves working out. I am a man who values and cherishes his freedom. And I wish to propagate all of the goodness and wisdom that God has given me and that I've been able to accumulate by the many fingerprints that has poured into me. I
Yeah.
try my best to propagate that into others as well. So that is like a, how long did that take? That's like a quick 4.5 minute synopsis of me.
I mean, I want to peel the layers back a little bit in that, like
Let's
I'm
do it.
curious, going all the way back, growing up in New Jersey and everything like that. Do you feel like you always had a defined path, or did you have you didn't have a defined path at all? Like, what was it like?
Not at all. Like, so I'm pretty sure this is going to go out on LinkedIn, right? What I'm doing right now, I never even entertained the idea of what I'm currently doing right now. So
Yeah,
for context, I work in the aerospace industry, specifically at a satellite startup here in Tokyo. I never thought that I would be doing that. I'm
yeah,
a business development manager. I manage regions throughout Northern Africa and the APAC region. Never would have thought that I was going to be doing that. My mom,
yeah,
so let's rewind. Haitians, so I'm Haitian, right?
yeah,
Haitians are a very specific, unique group of people. When they
yeah,
raise their kids, they raise their kids to be one of the followings. You're either going to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or you're going to be an engineer or an engineer or an engineer.
the big three
And I
plus three.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I wouldn't say I was an engineer. I worked in the realm of civil engineering. So at the latter end of my Air Force career, I was a construction project manager. So I was dealing with a lot of civil engineering projects as well as I was a logistics manager. So I'm dealing with a lot of equipment that's coming in and out of South Korea from my squadron. So I was in the realm of engineering, but like numbers wise, it's just it for me, it doesn't fit. And then like
Yeah,
if we're being honest, when I was a child, I didn't really have anything specific that I cared about or that I was passionate about, except I knew I wanted to leave New Jersey. I knew I wanted to see the world. I
right.
knew I wanted to travel. That was like the one, I guess, North Star that I had was that I wanted more than what I had in New Jersey. I just didn't know how to do it. Because if I'm
Yeah,
being honest, like I'll try my best. I'm trying to be a very honest, transparent, humble person. I knew I was not athletic enough to go to the NFL. I found that out almost immediately by the age of 15. I probably could have went like D2, D1 AA if I actually really, really pushed myself, but that was
yeah,
not, God didn't bless me with that ability. I have real geniuses in my family. We're talking Ivy League graduates. I did not have that. You know, how when people are just inherently brilliant,
yeah.
like they can just look at something and pick it up right away. That was not me.
Brainiacs. Yeah,
Yeah, not me. So for me, it was what is my ticket to get to what it is that I want to do? When I was 18, 19 years old, for the sake of being honest, I wasn't really doing much. Like I worked at a company called Robert Wayne. I was there for about a year. Yeah, about a year. And it was one of those instances where my uncle, who I have two father figures. I've never had a relationship with my father, but I had two great, wonderful father figures in my uncles, right? Each
yeah,
of them are unique and different from one another, but both of them play pivotal roles in my life in how I think and conduct myself as a black man today. My one uncle, who was my mother's brother, and then my other uncle, my mother's sister's husband. That's the relationship there. So my uncle Max, he pretty much said to me, "You're not doing anything with your life right now. You're hardly in school. You have no money." Oh, what? We're gonna talk about the fine. We're gonna talk about finances later, but boy, Mufaro, man, it was like as soon as I would get my $723.18 checks, boy, them things was gone. Like I was blowing money on Rugby Ralph Lauren. I'd be going out partying, doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff, and I had nothing going for myself. And looking back at it, the potential that I had, I was pissing it away. So my uncle was like, "You pretty much have two options. You can either join the military or you can join the military. But either way, you're going to join the military. That's pretty much the ticket that I was given. So
Yeah. Well, no, this is good because my next question was gonna be like, you know, where were you at in life when you made the decision to join the Air Force? So this is good. Keep going.
so I was 18, 19. I was 19 when I left. Basic training was a very easy but difficult time of my life.
Yeah.
Where it was easy was like, honestly, none of the running or calisthenics I found difficult. I really didn't find it difficult at all. This is like, I played sports throughout high school, running, lifting. I wasn't the most athletic person in my school, but I was definitely one of the strongest individuals in my school. So that was pretty easy. The most difficult part there was like having the energy to stay awake, because like how the schedule would be was like you wake up at 4:30 every single day, and sometimes depending on how your day is structured, you're going to sleep at like anywhere from 9:30 to 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
So dealing being sharp and accurate and precise in everything you do whilst dealing with the lack of sleep was the most
Mhm.
difficult part of basic
Yeah.
training. Cool, we get through basic training. Again, I was terrible with money. Like I got out of basic. I went to tech school. I think I had like $1,088 in my account. Mufaro, I
Yeah.
thought I was rich. I thought I had all the money in the world. I thought I could buy a whole state if I wanted to. I
Yeah.
went to the BX. So the PX stands for post exchange. So this is where you go to purchase things. It was also
Yeah.
the first time that I ever saw that you could just casually buy a gun in the United States. And I go here, I bought a laptop, I bought some clothes, I was broke again. Um, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. And then I got through tech school. Tech school was cool. I was in Missouri. Missouri was hot. It was humid. I don't think I'll ever go back. I don't think God will ever send me there. So cool. We get through there. I get to South Korea. Man, South Korea at the age of 19.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting time in my life. I'm so happy and thankful that I got to experience it because 19 years old. So you asked me, where was I at when I joined the military?
Yeah.
Where I was at when I joined the military, I didn't have anything going for myself, right? So now I'm 19 years old. I kind of have something going for myself where I have a career, I have money coming in, I have benefits, and a lot, how shall I say this? A lot of my friends when we were 18 and 19 years old, for that age group, were doing very well, right? So let's speak on shameless plug. Let's speak on my cousin Marcus, who is playing in the World Cup right now. Big flex, super duper proud of him, right?
Shout
Playing
out
for Haiti, go
Marcus.
Haiti. That's what shout out Marcus, right? So my peers are Ivy League students. My peers are going to highly prestigious universities. My peers are like entering into their majors. And
Yeah.
here I am still at home living with my mom, and I'm looking around and I'm angry at myself and I'm frustrated with myself because I'm not where I want to be. And I felt that anger when I was 19, right? Or 18. I brought that with me to South Korea in terms of my immaturity, because what I thought success was for the 18 to 20, 21-year old, I'm speaking on America, right? Was I left home, and like there's university culture in the United States is very different from everywhere else that I've been to. I'm sure we'll speak about what I did in Australia, but it's very different. So I pretty much wanted to experience all of the fun of university when I was 18, 19 years old. I wanted to experience that and experience being away from home. That's genuinely all that I wanted. When I
Yeah.
was 19, I got it.
Right.
When I was 19, I was out every weekend. I mean, every weekend. I was out in Seoul every single weekend. The moment we got let out on Friday, so we probably get cut loose from the shop at like 3:30, 4 p.m. I'm on the bus at 5:15. I'm in Seoul at 6 p.m. I'm at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
and we start drinking from like we're drinking on the way there, and
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
stop. We don't stop. This also contributed to some of the bad habits that I had later in my 20s. But we don't stop drinking until Sunday of like
Damn.
9 p.m. when we get back to base.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this is like it's like 40 hours of just a bender every single weekend.
Every
Mind
weekend.
you, it's not like I'm making that much money.
Yeah.
I might be making $640 a check. And when they was working, all right, boy, it was working us too, man. But that's where I was at. Like, so 19, my time in Korea, 19 years old, summarizing that. I was immature. I was envious of my peers, and I thought that success at that time was I'm away from family, I'm away from my parents or my mom, and I can just have fun and go out every single weekend. That's what I thought
Yeah.
success was at 19. I didn't know a damn thing.
Yeah, but, like, what did you think was the source of that envy? Was it that your friends are out of the house? Like, what was it?
Yeah, it was genuinely because of my lack of maturity. I was just immature, man. I was just
Yeah.
really immature, and I thought I knew everything, and I thought I understood what success was. But success for an 18, 19-year-old is not being able to party every single weekend
Yeah.
away from the surveillance of your parents. It's
Yeah.
genuinely so to the 18, if there's any 18, 19, 20-year-olds watching this, that is a terrible idea example of success, and that's not what success actually is. So
So, do you recall, like, the moment that your mindset kind of flipped the switch?
there's a couple of events that took place.
Yeah.
They're very scattered, by the way. Whereas like a lot of things happened in order for me to get to that point. I think the first thing that happened was I was stationed in the UK, and I was trying to figure out what my next base was going to be. So I think at the time I was 20, I was 25. I was 25. I was trying to figure out what my next base was going to be. And I got a listing, and it said that the listing available was Ulsan, South Korea, Kunsan, South Korea. I think that was it, or Guam. I did not want to go to Guam. I was like, I'll go back to South Korea. It's too hot, man. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not good. I'm not good in the heat.
And go with the heat.
I'm not good in the heat. So I went to, it's pretty much like it's our version of HR. So I think it was MPF or something like that. And they deal with like the changes and logistics of personnel. And they were like, well, you can't sign up for or request to go to Korea because you don't have retainability. Retainability means I don't have enough time on my enlistment contract to be able to accept or request another military base. Right. So
Right.
I had 9 months left on my contract, and I had to extend for another at least 2 years. And it was at that moment where I was like, if I wanted to, I can get out in 9 months. Mufaro. I
Yeah.
did. I was not prepared to get out in 9 months. Like I might have had a couple of $1,000 on, like no more than three on hand at that
Yeah.
time. Mind you, I'm 25. And like if you scroll down on my Instagram, it looks like I have money. Like I had a fly up. No, let's talk about it though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a fly apartment, bro, in the UK. So context. I was living in Newmarket, UK. So this is like the horse racing capital of the world. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away from London. It's a 15-minute drive away from Cambridge. I got two cars, right? I thought I was the flyest dude. I had me a little 2006 Honda Accord. It was a
Yeah.
fly point A to point B car. And I had a nice 2007 BMW 335 drop top. I thought I was the man. I was broke. I was we need to talk about it though. Like I'm
Yeah.
sending signals that I have it under control, that
Yeah.
I have it all figured out, that I know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. And I'm flaunting this and I'm flaunting that. And I'm buying all these sections for what? Right. So it
Yeah.
was it was at that moment where I realized like I don't have it figured out because here is an opportunity for me to get out. Because at the time, I was not a fan of my career field. If I'm being honest, I hated it. I hated it, but
Yeah.
I didn't prepare myself to leave. That's the first. What is it called? Like inflection point?
Yeah.
What is it? Inflection point? Is that the
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right? That was one. That was one. Two. My mom getting sick because that was the first time that I started to understand the mortality of man, that I started to realize that it is possible to get sick. It is possible for one to lose their life because of a car accident, because you're sick, because of alcoholism, because of whatever the case may be. I really realized that I could actually lose my mom, which is the cornerstone of my life.
Yeah.
That was two. Three, meeting my wife. Meeting my wife is extremely important because my wife is the one who introduced me into my relationship with God, or introduced me back into my relationship with God,
Put you back.
introduced me into my relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
My wife, second to my mother, was also the first woman who actually, or first woman, second woman to actually believe in me. She was
Yeah.
the second woman to speak life into me. Where when I was in the military, so those who worked in my career field, they call us dirt boys, right? Because we get that name, a lot of people make a lot of assumptions of we are not cognitively or intellectually inclined to be able to pick up certain things that might require someone to actually, whether it's mathematics, whether it's being able to use a computer, like even something as simple as like, how do you know that Excel function? Aren't you a dirt boy? Things like that. Like
Yeah.
that was the culture around it. Whereas my wife would say things like, why do you keep saying things like you're not smart when I listen to how you speak and you are signaling to me your intelligence? Why don't you actually believe in yourself? Why don't you actually take the time to sit down and plan your steps? She was challenging me. Why? What is it that you do right now? Don't you know that you could do so much more? That was that like she was the one where like I'm sitting here reaching for low hanging fruit. She's the one lifting my hand up to actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Reach higher.
that's three. But like so one, two, and three. Two huge. Three
Yeah.
huge. Four. My mom died. So when my mom died, on the paperwork says 6th December 2021. I was on the other side. I was in Korea. So for me it was 7 December 2021. Both days are correct.
Yeah.
That was the first time I realized that like I have no safety net. There's no one who's gonna come and save me. There's no one who's gonna come and help me. Granted, my wife, you know my wife, you know how she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife is really like that. But it was at that moment that I realized there's no artillery. I love my family dearly, but like a lot of my problems, that's me to figure out. I can't call anyone. So I have to like count every single dollar I have and plan it for the future. I have to make sure that I have a cushion on the side just in case an emergency happens so that
Yeah.
I'm not calling my family asking them for money.
Yeah.
I have to educate myself on the knowledge and wisdom that's required for me to go off and do the things that I need to go and do. I didn't have that safety net. Mom, and connected to number four, when my mom died, I didn't receive anything, man. There was no inheritance. There was no life insurance. There was nothing.
Yeah.
I think there's genuinely a check somewhere for like $283. And so that's number four. That was a really big one. And for context, I might be able to speak on my emotional experience of losing my mom with maturity. I'm not over it though. Like
Yeah.
I feel the void of her absence every day. So like that reality of I'm the head of my house, I lead us,
Yeah.
I have to be good at all times because there is no outside of God, there is no safety blanket for my family and I. It's God, Christ, me, wife. It's just us.
Yeah.
We got everything we need though. May God be glorified.
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
5, getting baptized and really, really, really taking my relationship and my walk with Christ serious. Like a lot of, so remember when I brought up my bad habits, alcoholism, anger, regret,
Mm.
not believing in myself. A lot of these things change firstly because of my relationship with Christ. I cannot walk with Christ and be drinking alcohol every single weekend and getting drunk. I can't walk with Christ and have a sexually immoral life. I cannot walk with Christ and be swearing at people or having anger and rage inside of my heart
Yeah.
and say I'm walking with Christ. So like that right there is the cornerstone of accountability and standard that I live by that keeps me in check.
Yeah.
That's 1. 2, or yeah, connected to that, my wife. So like having that responsibility of having someone to take care of was good for me. And like I love being married. I love being married, man. I love being married. I love knowing that I'm living my life in a manner that is pleasing to God. I'm not perfect,
Mm.
but the way that my life is structured, everyone who knows me knows I've lived a very, very structured life. I
Yeah.
only care
Yeah.
about 4 things and it's congruent with God. I don't everything outside of that, I don't care about. That's 2, discipline, discipline. This is how I was able to, well, 1, continue my walk with God, 2, not become a raging alcoholic after losing my mom. And
Yeah.
it was definitely my relationship with God that has allowed me to not fall into an abyss. But my discipline to train every single day has been a core thing in my life that has definitely allowed me to take the principles of that to show up even when I don't want to show up even
Yeah.
when I'm tired, to show up even when I don't feel like it, to show up even when I have big time commitments.
Yeah.
I can take that and apply it to my relationship with God. I can apply it to my relationship with my wife. I can apply it to my relationships with my friends and my family. I can apply it to my work. I can apply it to the areas that have impact on me and my family in my life.
I think it's interesting. Like, do you attribute all of these lessons around discipline, around responsibility, around that pressure? Do you attribute that to your military experience, or do you just attribute that to like life happening?
All of the above. All of the above. My 9 years in the military, I was undisciplined when I joined. So I was not disciplined when I joined at all. This is how the military operates. So when I was in basic, you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and Air Force basic, so it's different from everybody else. For Air Force basic, we're waking up at 4:30 Monday through Saturday. Mufaro, guess what time I wake up today? I'm waking up at 4:30 Monday through Sunday. 4:30.
Yeah.
When you wake up at 4:30, what's the first thing you do? You make your bed. The second thing you do, I mean, I think this part is generic, but you wash your face, brush your teeth, get yourself playing. Then we
Yeah.
get to training. That is exactly how my day goes to this day. I wake up, I make my bed, I brush my teeth, wash my face, get all that. I go straight to the gym. Once you're done
Yeah.
with that, you come back, you eat. You come back, you eat. Then you wash yourself because you smell now. Then you start the day. So for me,
Yeah.
it's very I how my days are set up. It's blocked out just like that. I'm up every morning at 5:30. I'm doing my devotional by 5. About 5:30, I'm working from 5:30 to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm working from 3 to 5, 3 to 6. I'm training from 6 to 9. I spend it with my wife. 9, I'm dead. I'm asleep. And that's kind of like, so it was. I picked that up in the military where like those are the expectations. You are expected to be in shape.
Yeah.
You are expected to not be disheveled. You are expected for your uniform to be clean.
Yeah.
So we're expected to be a certain way. You're expected to be a positive value add to your community. You're
Yeah.
expected to be a leader. You're expected to conduct yourself in a certain way. You're expected to say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. You're expected to treat people automatically with respect.
Yeah.
So I did great. Some of those things I had, again, I grew up in a Haitian household. So a lot of that was kind of beat into us, loved into us, disciplined into us. But then, like, some of the formalities I got from the military. Now, let's talk about the life side.
Yeah.
When I got out of the military, man, I got a lot of doses of life. One, my mom died as I was getting out. So I got out. So my mom died 6 December 2021. I started my leave like 8 February 2022. I officially separated, I think 8 or 9 March 2022, one of those 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was the first time where I was like, I can do whatever I want, whatever I want. Cause I got
Yeah.
out, I got out the military. Honestly, I don't, I had a lot of money when I got out the military. That was one thing that made God be glorified. I did do. I got out with quite a bit of money, but it was like I have all of this freedom, and I was genuinely so afraid to like mess it up.
Yeah.
Granted, I knew what I was doing. Like I knew that I was going to be going to UTS. I don't know if you remember this, but like I moved to Melbourne. I was with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. Uh, so this is February. I was starting class in August. So it's like I have 6 months. I get to do whatever I want. Boy, Mufar, I was so freaked out about that freedom. I started doing everything that I was doing in the military all over again. I was waking up at 5. I was going to the gym. I did play a lot of video games. I'm not gonna lie. Like I gamed a lot. But that that 6 hour, like those 6 months, I still structured my day where it's like at 5 o'clock I'm waking up. I'm gonna be in the gym. I'm gonna be at the gym by like 6, from 6 to 8, six to
Yeah.
8:30. I'm training. I was like powerlifting at the time, so I was pretty serious about that. Cool. From like 10 to like 2, I found something to do that was productive. So whether that's reading, whether that's I had like a veterans idea. So like a launching veterans from the standpoint of like helping them and propelling them into the next chapter of their lives, right?
Yeah.
So I was like working on something along those lines, and I worked it out very well. And then I saw the red tape, and I was like, I'm not doing this. And then school started, and then it was kind of just like, all right, school started. I actually have something to do, something to focus on. So I pretty much structured my day and structured my life around school. There was a lot of headaches around school though. Like
Yeah.
this is where the life kind of kicked me in the ass. Where number one, I spent a year at UTS. Let's go through it. Let's walk through it. So I spent a year
Well,
at
actually,
UTS.
before we do that, I wanna, I guess, get into why Australia was the next destination after South Korea.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier this morning. So at that time, I had spent 8.5 years overseas. Boy, I wasn't going back. I wasn't going back, Mufaro. I wasn't going back. So
Yeah.
Australia was primarily because of my wife, to be honest.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I lied. I didn't. I was on the verge of going back
Yeah.
because I had planned to become a pilot. So like there was actually a really good friend of mine. So I had created this like super hot fire plan. I had gotten into Ohio State University's aviation program. I
Mhm.
still have the letter of acceptance to this day. Or I got into Ohio State and I was going to pursue the aviation program. And it was just like program wife, program girlfriend, program girlfriend. I chose my
Yeah.
wife. Don't regret it though. I don't regret it for a single second. Then Australia's, right? So why Australia? For me, I was going to stay overseas regardless. So had it
Yeah.
not been for my wife, I either A, would have went to the aviation program, or B, I probably would have went back to Europe, and I
Yeah.
would have went back to school, and I would have did something. I don't know what it would have been, but I went to Australia primarily because of my wife, and then two, I was able to make it work because of my veterans benefits. So I was able to still go to school for free. I was still able to receive my stipends and everything like that. So that's essentially why I chose Australia.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, sorry. I then interrupted your
You good,
flow.
man?
But yeah,
You
what
good,
was
man?
that what was that chapter of life for you?
So University of Technology Sydney was the first school in Australia that I went to. To any veterans who are listening to this, University of Technology Sydney was a good school. Great people. People were friendly. The professors there were awesome. Yeah, I have no complaints about that year in Sydney at all. We were staying in an awesome neighborhood, Waterloo, Zetland, super duper nice. Loved the area. But my wife was homesick of Melbourne, right? So she was like, I don't want to be in Sydney anymore. And I was just like,
And I mean, let's talk about the fact that, it costs you an arm and a leg just to even breathe in
yo,
Sydney, you know? It's just
you step out, hold on, where my wallet at? You step outside, bruh, and it's give me 100, give me 100, give me 100, give me 100. You step outside, give me 100. What? Man, it was
and
bad.
you
It's
know what?
bad in Sydney, and it's getting worse.
No offense to the listeners listening in Sydney. My apologies. I don't mean to offend you,
No, they
but
feel the same way though.
yeah, y'all need to do something about cost
Bro,
of living.
Mufara, it's worse. Like we're gonna get into it, but like it's so bad in Sydney, bro.
Yeah.
So we did a year. My wife is like, I'm ready to go. I miss my friends, I miss my family. Or she missed her friends. And I was like, you know what? I love you. Let's make that happen. Right. So how it works for veterans is the program that you because I wasn't done with my program yet. So at the time, let's add context. At the time, I was pursuing a career in HR. You remember this? I was like, I'm gonna be people and culture. You remember this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So I'm now looking for new programs to study in Melbourne. I applied to the University of Swinburne University. I got into Swinburne University. At the time, still doing my bachelor's degree, or I'm trying to finish my bachelor's degree. I was 26. I think I was 27 or 28 years old at the time, right?
Yeah.
Swinburne University comes back to me and says, "Hey, I appreciate them for this, by the way. Hey, based on your application package, we believe that you are at a graduate level." I said, hey, yeah, sure. Why not? They bumped me up to the graduate level, my application up to the graduate level. I have to kind of like re go through the application process. I end up getting into Swinburne's Master of HR program. Yeah, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then they said, so where's that $50,000 check coming from? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Mufara, at this point, we've already moved into our apartment in Melbourne, bro.
Yeah.
We've already moved into our. So at this point, we left already. So I have to figure out like, am I going to go back to Sydney because I don't feel like dropping I think it was $40,000 AUD for this.
Yeah.
So then I like explained the situation to my wife. I think we were engaged. We were engaged at the time. And she was like, well, if you're going to pay for school, you might as well just shop around. You might as well just shop around. Boy, before I shopped around, man, I applied to obviously Swinburne, I think Victoria. I tried to apply to University of Melbourne, but University of Melbourne got like the strictest admission requirements for everything. They do.
Yeah.
I ended up applying to Monash for their like Masters of Business Administration program. I got in, but I had to do the graduate certificate in business. That that was a that check I had to write. So they were
Yeah.
like that. So Monash was not covered by my benefits because my wife and I moved. We're already in Melbourne. It's kind of like I have to come out of pocket. Well, Mufar, I wrote these people a $25,000 check, boy. I wrote these people a $25,000 check, bro. And for those 6 months, so I ended up getting into the graduate certificate program, Monash University. Cool. I hated my 6 months there. When
Yeah.
we were in Melbourne for those 6 months, I was not happy. I was angry. I'm talking about I was bitter. Like
Yeah.
this is me being honest and holding myself accountable. I was bitter, bro. Like, boy, I love my wife, man. This is gonna be. I'm gonna glorify God a lot, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
give my wife her flowers a lot because,
Yeah.
man, my wife really listened to me and put up with me for 6 months, right? So then during this period of time, so during these 6 months, right? So it's like I paid for the graduate certificate. I got into the master's program. So in order to stay under my student visa in Australia, I have to stay in school or switch my visa to something else. I'm like, it was my mother's dying wish for me to finish my education, which was why I aggressively pursued my education while I was in Australia. So
Yeah.
there was a lot behind it that was pushing me to
Yeah.
pursue my education. So that was the why behind it. So during this 6 month period, I'm like, I have to figure out how I'm going to pay for the next round or the next semester. So it's like I'm saving money up during these 6 months. And it's kind of like we might be able to make it by the skin of our teeth, where we're just paying for it cash. And then, so my wife and I got married. This is extremely important. My wife and I got married, I believe it was 29 September 2023.
Mhm.
I believe that's the date. I love my wife, either way.
That is the date. That we're just gonna confidently
Yeah,
say that's the
29,
date because
29 September with confidence. With fervor.
yes. Otherwise, because I ain't trying to get you
Right.
in trouble on
Right.
this
Appreciate it.
episode. Is it?
Appreciate it. So we got married 29 September. It was my wife's big dream and desire. So this is connected to us being in Japan. But my wife wanted to go to Japan for our honeymoon. For me,
Yeah.
it was easy because I had traveled so much already. So for me, it's like when my wife and I travel now, I genuinely defer to what my wife wants to do because I genuinely, man, my travel experience is complete. So like
Yeah.
she wanted to go to Japan, we go to Japan. Context. We get to Japan, Mufaro. My wife and I are crunching numbers. And my wife is like, we can't go back to Monash. There's no way. Like
Yeah.
there's no way. We would have $0. We had some money. We didn't have no money, but like had we poured the money into Monash, $0, Mufaro. None.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, you're right. So while I'm on my honeymoon, Mufaro,
Yeah.
I'm applying to schools in Sydney on my honeymoon.
Mind
It
you,
was a
but this was also a long honeymoon. This was not like
two
a
months, 2 months.
yeah. It wasn't like 2 weeks in Japan. Y'all were there for a minute.
Context is important. Context is
Yeah.
important, right? So I end up getting into,
And that's
I,
especially for the people who are like, man, this man's just wasting his time on his honeymoon on application. Like you
hey
had a bit of
man,
time. You had a bit of time.
yeah, we had some time, right? So it was a great honeymoon, but I wish we were not honeymooning under that stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I ended up getting into UNSW. I got into University of Sydney. I was applying to the QT, so the Queensland University Technology MBA program. I was the interview stage of
Yeah.
that application. And I ended up accepting the offer with UCID because UCID pretty much the package that they offered was we're paying for all of your school. Yep, that's where I'm going. That's that's where I'm going. I'm going to where I don't have to, right?
Except.
Yep, accepted. And we signed, right? So now, mind you, all of this happened on my honeymoon, Bufaro,
Yeah.
right? So now that we got through this, now we're planning to move from Melbourne back to Sydney on my honeymoon. I don't know. Look, I say this respectfully. I don't know anyone else who has experienced such a thing whilst on their honeymoon. Nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody
Yeah.
else. May God be glorified, right? So then we got back. I think 18 January 2024. We moved by I think the 8th of February because my classes were starting on like the 18th of February, bro.
Yeah. No, I remember that. You guys were back and gone with the quickness.
So we had spent at that time I think we moved back to Melbourne in June. So we were in Melbourne for all of 7.5 months. 7.5, 8 months.
Yeah.
Right. So that's life giving me. Monash, that's a not like that's a bitter pill, right? I was angry, I was mad, but look at God. That bitter pill got me into my master's degree program at UCID, of which I didn't have to pay for.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, in the same manner as I had to catch some adversity, I was able to be blessed through the adversity. Now, here is where the discipline piece is important. When I was
Yeah.
in Monash, I could have packed it in, bro. I could have not gone to class. But if I would have done that, I would have been stealing from myself. I would have been letting myself down because I wrote the check. I wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So during that period of time, I'm talking about I was killing my classes, bro. I'm talking about all that anger that I had, all of it was getting poured into the books. See, this is the problem. I wish I had this type of fuel and energy. I probably could have went Ivy League if I would have had this intensity towards my studies
Yeah.
when I was at Monash, when I was younger. Because I pretty much left Distinction HD, Distinction HD, Distinction HD,
Yeah.
which helped me
Wow.
get into. And had I not done that, and had I not had the discipline and the resilience to push through that, I wouldn't have gotten into UCID, and I probably would have stayed at my program. Right, cool. So we get to UCID. Fast forward, cool. We get to UCID. Was a good experience. My professors were awesome.
Yeah.
My professors were kind. I can't think of a single professor that I just didn't enjoy their company and like didn't enjoy them teaching me whatever it was that they were teaching. It was a project management program. So like
Yeah.
I enjoyed the program, right? Also during my honeymoon, I got my PMP certification during my honeymoon. A lot of things happened on my honeymoon,
Yeah.
right? So those 18 months, right? So while we're in Sydney, the first semester happened very cool. It was cool, honestly. The second semester came, same thing. Going into the third semester was when real adversity hit. I don't know if I can share this because it has to do with my wife, but it was a very big, possibly life altering event that almost happened. It was life altering to the point where we had thought that we were going to stay in Australia.
Yeah.
We were faced with a situation where I'm looking at my wife and I'm saying, if it all was over for you 5 years from now, what is it that you would have wanted to do? She
Yeah.
said, I want to go to Japan. So going into my final semester, we shifted focus from me trying to find a job in Australia to me trying to push to go find a job in Japan. Now let's talk about the stark difference between the experience I had in job hunting for Australia versus Japan. Nah, we need to
Yeah.
talk about it, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like
Anyone who
it's different, right? And I mean like we know that while you were looking for jobs here, like that alone was hard because they don't make it easy in Australia to come here, let alone come here and then look for a job. So
Mufaro,
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm better than anyone. What I'm going to sit here and say is I am an employable individual.
yeah, yeah,
And when I was in Australia, bro, for those 2.5 years, everyone told me no. I dealt with hundreds of no's, man. And like,
yeah,
this is me trying to get into people and culture, which I'm not even going to bring that up. Cool. Had an experience, didn't like it. I moved on. Now I'm in
yeah,
project management. I'm trying for interviews at Amazon, internships at Amazon, trying to work at Amazon. I'm trying to work at construction companies. I'm trying to work at tech companies. I'm trying to do whatever I can. No, no, no,
yeah,
no, 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 no. Clearly, God did not want me to go down that path. Boy, move far. I'm talking about start different, right? Let's talk about Japan. I'm talking about as soon as we said, yep, we're going to focus on Japan. Like I pretty much took my LinkedIn profile. I put it into this website called BizReach. I was watching a YouTube video. People were talking about how to find jobs in Japan.
yeah,
Person said BizReach. Let's see what it's talking about. I took my LinkedIn profile, I put it in BizReach. Within a week, I got 30 recruiters in my DMs. Then I met the recruiter who like I actually like properly connected with. And I'm like letting him know, hey, I don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't need to speak Japanese. You don't need to speak Japanese. And then me and him, this is funny. So me and him had a discovery call, right? An intro call for
Yeah.
me and the recruiter to meet. I hired a translator in that meeting, and he would speak to me in Japanese, and she was in the meeting translating for me,
Right.
telling me what he was saying. Right, cool. So then he was like, "Yeah, I'd like to move forward with you. I love your experience because you have experience in defense contracts, you have program manager experience, project manager experience. I think you should focus on aerospace." When that man told me that I think you can be in the aerospace industry, I thought he was lying. I thought he was joking and laughing. I'm serious, man. Because again, this is like, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I really thought that something like that was too high for an individual like me. I said respectfully, right?
Yeah.
Man, boy, I'm telling you, when God wants you to go somewhere, I think I had like a couple of interviews. I think like I interviewed with 4 companies. One company I interviewed, I won't say the name of the company. I did not like the CEO. I did not like the CEO. I did not. They came off rude. They came into the meeting late. I'm big on punctuality, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't like them. Then I met my current company. Mind you, I stalked my company, right? So I'm very big on like, if I'm going to meet somebody, I would have stalked you by now. I would have gone on your LinkedIn. I would have found your Facebook. I would have found your Instagram, and I would have familiarized myself with your track record, past, what you've accomplished in the past, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I did my homework on my company, and I just made certain assumptions. Right. So I was like, in this company, I believe I'm going to speak to at least 2 or 3 of these 4 individuals. And I just studied these 4 individuals. And I was right, actually. So I ended up being interviewed by 3 individuals, one of them being my director now. And I just studied it. But there's one dude, right? My director, that man spent 9 years in the States. He's a gospel preacher. A lot of his friends are Black. So I'm
You ain't
like, I was like, I believe that I will have rapport with this individual, and
right.
I believe that I can connect with this individual,
Yeah.
right? So going into the meeting, may God be glorified. Boom, 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 boom. Asking questions. I'm answering questions. Boom, boom, boom. I have people laughing. Cool, cool, cool. That's how the first interview went. We now go on to the second interview. In the second interview, so the role that I was applying for was business development, right? With some project management elements in there. So I pretty much created like a market segment strategy to help them break into certain markets. And like in the second interview, I presented it to them, and the interview went very well. Cool. I had the third interview. I met the CEO. The fourth meeting that we had, I got the job. Boom, 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 boom. And it was simple. It was smooth. There was no problems.
Yeah.
That is instantly when I knew God wants me to do this. Oh, I didn't have to fight. It wasn't me toiling or pulling teeth. Of course I had to work for it. Of course I had to prepare, but I definitely knew that where I'm at right now is exactly where God wants me to be.
Yeah.
Cool. I graduated, which was a wonderful feeling, knowing that I was graduating my degree or finishing my degree with a job lined up in
Yeah.
Tokyo, of all places. So it's kind of like I know where I'm going after this. And it was awesome to like feel that security. But then
Yeah.
there was like, again, you graduate, and like in comes some adversity where like we moved back to Melbourne, man. And just like, granted, huge shout out to you. Huge shout out to Liz. I don't know if she's gonna watch this right now. Huge shout out to Liz. She pretty much my sister-in-law, where
Yeah.
like she wrapped her arms around us, man. Like she welcomed us into her home, and we were able to stay with her for a couple of months and pretty much until we went. And then another huge shout out to Jimmy and Lucy because they wrapped their arms around us as well because we stayed with them for a period of time before we moved to Tokyo. But that was a hard time for us because it was just like we're just sitting here waiting, don't really know what we're gonna do. My wife is just out waiting for the move to happen. I'm trying to just figure out what to do because now it's like in the same manner, like I have 6 months, I don't have to do anything. So like my actual start date was October 20th at my company,
Yeah.
and I graduated in June. So I had about 4.5 months to kind of like do nothing while at the same time wait for my visa to get processed, like learn stuff about the company. So again, that's the discipline. I was still waking up super duper early in the day. I
Yeah.
took some time to learn how to speak Japanese. I took some time to familiarize myself with whatever aerospace technology that I could familiarize myself, which is paying dividends now. So like
Yeah.
discipline, man, discipline has carried me. Yeah. That's kind of how my time in Australia went. I don't regret it for a second. I'm so happy that
Yeah.
I went. I'm so happy that I had the experience. I'm always open to moving back to Melbourne. I love and appreciate all of the good friends and relationships that I have had. And it has definitely contributed to who I am today, where I am today, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I mean, like, what definitely comes through in your story, so like born and growing up in the States, you move to South Korea, you have a stint of time in Europe, you're back to Korea, you're here in Australia, now you're in Japan. Do you feel like all of that movement has been, I don't know, like an evolution? Do you think each country has brought out a different version of you? Like, what has that sort of felt like? Because I guess you've had to, in a sense, you've had to keep starting again each time you come to this different place. So, like, yeah, what has that felt like, and how has that taught? What has that taught you about resilience?
Man, I feel like it has taught me. I can't say everything about resilience, but it has taught me a lot about resilience. Importance of the importance of changing and not remaining stagnant, right? So let's talk. So 19 to 32. The person that I was at 19 is not sufficient for what is required of me today.
Yeah,
The circumstances that was required of me at 19, the 19-year-old was able to fulfill at that time. Same thing when I went to Germany. Germany, who I was at the age of 19 was not sufficient for who I became and who I was in Germany. Not to say that that person was that much better because, like, again, like I was still going out, I was still making a bunch of terrible financial decisions. I enjoyed my life. Yes. Like I can look back and say I had a lot of fun, but same thing. I think I didn't start getting serious until my final tour in South Korea, where now I'm going back to school. I'm saving money. I'm investing. I'm taking my relationship with God more serious. I'm seeking and pursuing a relationship with my mother where I'm talking to her more often.
yeah,
So, like, the evolution and growth of punk ass 19-year-old kid Juice, we'll call it. I mean, everybody in the military knew me as Juice.
yeah,
Juice was immature, selfish, somewhat of a hard worker when he wanted to be, talented, charming, charismatic, out of shape until I think about 22 years old. Germany, excited, man, adventurer, optimistic, bad habits,
yeah.
somewhat undisciplined.
Hmm.
My second time in Korea, I was paranoid. All I wanted to do was honestly leave Korea and go to the UK. The UK, I was a little older, so I was 25. Again, I was going out almost every single weekend, but I was doing enough at work to where like I wasn't losing my stripes or anything like that. But again, I was not who I was supposed to be. I was not sure I was training every day, but just because you train every day, work out every day, that doesn't like and then what? So like again, what was I really doing? I met my mom got sick, I met my wife. Now I'm refraining from things now. I'm saying no to the alcohol now. I'm saying I can't hang out with a crowd of people anymore because this crowd of people is going in the opposite direction of where God is clearly leading me to go. My mom is sick, so my time with her is finite. A time period, time with your loved ones period is finite. We don't have enough time to get into that, but like I have a limited amount of time with her, so I need to talk to her while I have her. And I didn't even
Yeah.
fully understand it then. 28, so I'm in Australia. I am more mature. I stopped drinking alcohol in Australia. I started to believe in myself in Australia. I started to have respect for myself so that I'm not taking any disrespect from anyone at all. Not even in like a confrontational way, but it's something as simple as if you don't respect me, I can genuinely just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now I'm married. I'm the head of my house. So I have to be spiritually aligned with God. I have to be, and it's also my privilege to be aligned with my wife and protecting my wife and giving her the platform and environment to thrive
Yeah.
and experience peace. I have to keep on training because it contributes to the calmness of my spirit. I have to exercise discernment with my finances. Let's talk about that. I say this respectfully, may God be glorified. I make more now than when I was in the military. Boy, if God gave me the money now than when I was in the military, Mufara, man,
It'd
I
be a
would have had.
dangerous time.
Whereas like the restraint, right? So like a lot of the things that I want in this life, I said this to my wife earlier today. All of it is within reach. All of it. The majority of the things that I actually want to do in this life, it's within my reach. I can reach out and go and get it now. But because of the mature discernment that God gave me that I've picked up along the years, I have this self-control to say no to that urge that is still premature right now because I have
Yeah.
to serve my family first. That is where I'm at today.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, the child, young man that I was then does not serve God now. It doesn't
Yeah.
serve my wife now. I want to have kids. If it was up to me, I have 200 kids, 180 boys, 20 girls. If I didn't have to worry about my wife's health or money, I have a boatload of kids, right? But like I'm going to be raising, if it's God's will, children. So I have to make sure that I'm not exercising bad habits I may negatively affect them in the future. I want to give my children a head start
Mm.
versus what I got. And I'm not saying that my mom gave me everything that she could, but we have to be real here in that I didn't inherit anything when she died. So like when not only do I have to be of service to my children while I'm alive, I have to, the next step, which I'm entrusted of my generation is to provide them with something even in my death.
Yeah.
So that even when I'm absent, I've still blessed you, not only with the knowledge and wisdom that I've been given by God and my family and my loved ones, but with the resources that I left you with. Now, what you do with that is on you. Those that's your decision to make. But I'm passionate about this. I'm tired of seeing Black people in instances where they lack the resources. We
Yeah.
have all the talent in the world. We are capable of being as intelligent as the next group of people, but we lack the access to information and we absolutely lack the resources. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like the evolution that I have gone through, where I was a punk ass, know nothing 19-year-old kid who only cared about partying to I am a God fearing, Christ following lover of my wife who loves to train.
Yeah.
I hate drinking and I just want peace, financial independence, E92 3 Lime Rock edition, and the option to decide what I want to do today. Now,
Yeah.
that's probably going to come a couple years from now. but I am approaching that. But like the discernment, like I can't make certain decisions in order for me to get there. But that
For sure.
is where I am today.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's Mufaris from the future. Now, I hope you've been enjoying this episode so far. When we were recording this episode, I realized there are two distinct conversations that we're about to have here. So make sure you stay tuned for part 2 with Pascal, where we talk about his tips around unlocking financial freedom. And trust me, it's a good one. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening.
You know what? We gonna, we about to take off. Yeah, you know what? We about to, we about to take off.